right. Yes, perfect. Now we are live, Diana.
Oh,
We've had some technical issues, as it always as often happens, right? When you really want to talk about some really special things.
it's true. It's true.
But I'm happy we figured it out, and now, yeah, here we are, ready to talk about animal communication. This is going to be our topic for today. So, welcome, Diana. I'm really happy that you wanted to take your time and to like share your experience and your story about how you actually started your journey of of being an animal communicator. And to those of you who don't know Diana, I will just very quickly introduce you. So today I'm talking with Diana Del Monte, who is an animal communicator, author of books. One of them I've read, and this book is
Oh,
the title of this book is "Why You Should Listen When Your Animals Don't: How Your Animal's Behavior and Health Mirror Who You Are." So this book actually made me very inspired, and this book made me write you so we can. Yeah, so we could actually think about some cooperation and creating a course, which we will talk about later on as well. So, Diana, welcome, welcome, welcome.
thank you. And it's so good to see you again and to talk
Yes.
to you. And you're always so happy. And I love talking to you.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my uplifting energy. So yeah, so everything is very positive, and like so I can share it with others. So Diana, very nice to see you again as well. So in the beginning, I've prepared a couple of questions, and these are going to be very general because I'm sure that some of people who are going to listen to the recording or maybe join us live, they might not know so much about what animal communication is and what you actually mean by communicating with animals. So that's going to be my first question. Could you explain what you really mean by being an animal communicator?
Yes. So many people don't understand what it is.
Mhm.
And I understand why. I myself was a skeptic. And when I heard the term, I thought this is absolutely ridiculous. Animals don't talk. And I thought the whole thing was very woo-woo and just like too far out there, just kind of nuts. And this was like 25 years, or I don't know how long ago, maybe 25 years ago. And to make a very long story short, I was an artist and I had no interest in anything but my artwork. And one day when I was writing, I was very focused, which is important to note, because when our mind is focused and calm and free of a lot of inner chatter, that's when our animals can get through to us.
Mhm.
And so here I was writing, and all of a sudden, my pen ran out of ink. So I got up looking for another pen, and my mind, was pretty calm. I was just thinking about what I had been writing. And as I was entering my partner's music room, I heard in my head. And what does that mean? It means I had a thought, but it was a thought that really got my attention.
Mhm.
And what I heard was, "Look out, I'm down here." And I looked down, and there was my cat, Bubby, laying right there at the entrance. And he was just looking up at me. So, you know how cats just stare at you. And Henry's getting stuck in my wires here. So he was telling me, he was warning me, and I dismissed it. I thought, no, I didn't hear that. Coincidence. I made a lot of excuses. So this happened again, and it happened again. And finally, I thought, I think I'm hearing my animals. And now the point here is that I had no experience at all, and I didn't even believe in it. And what I've come to learn after all these years, what I teach is that animal communication, it's just a process of becoming more aware of the thoughts in your mind, the feelings and your emotions that arise in your body, and the images that come into your mind. Now, a lot of people will say, what are you talking about? I don't have any images in my mind. But we always do. We're just not aware of it. Thoughts are pictorial, and animals think in pictures. And they're always sending us their thoughts, whether it be, whether we receive them on different levels. We can see them, we can receive them as an image, as I did. Well, no, I gave you an auditory example. We can receive them in words, as I did with Bubby. We can receive them in images. 2 months later, I was petting Bubby in the sunlight. I mentioned sunlight because, again, I was focused on the warmth of of his body, his fur, and stroking him. And this always happens when when you have one pointed focus, attention. And sometimes not. Sometimes you'll just hear the animal. It'll just come right clear out of the blue. So anyway, I had an image, very quick, just a flash of Bubby trying to urinate. And he had a history of urinary blockages. And I thought, is he showing me that he's having problems? And again, I dismissed it. I was so hard. I was a skeptic, I'm telling you. And that's why I love teaching this, because people don't think they can do it. And they can. Everyone has the ability. It's our natural ability. We have the ability. We just need to become aware. And so it was true. He was trying to show me. And 2 days later, he had a full-on blockage, and I had to rush him to the vet. So yes, animal communication is just an exchange of thoughts, of feelings, of emotions. And we do this all the time with one another, and we're just not aware of it. And I can go into a whole lot. I can go into a million examples, but I'll stop. I'll stop there.
I will definitely ask you for more examples because they are always interesting. And I'm really happy that you said that you used to be a skeptic, because there are still so many people who are skeptics. So
yes.
Yeah, so there's that even such people can learn it and can open up to these possibilities, right?
When you mention the word psychic, people attach the the image of some gypsy woman with a crystal ball. They it's so undermined for some reason. And psychic is just, again, animals are psychic, and so are we, meaning we all have feelings and emotions that we just intuitively, like in your gut feeling. What is that? It's your body's way of protecting you, of informing you what's right for you, what's not right for you. We have these natural instincts. So do animals. We are no different. And images in your mind. When you lose your car keys, I always use this as an example, because the images that you receive from an animal could be very subtle. They might not be as clear and vivid as they were when I received that image of Bubby straining to urinate. They could be so subtle. Think about when you think about someone, you cannot. Memory is visual. You can't think of anyone without seeing them in your mind. If you think about what you're going to eat today, you will see you will see the different kinds of foods in your mind. When you think about what you're going to wear, you'll see the clothes in your mind. So this is what we're talking about, very subtle. When you lose your car keys, think about, what do you do when you try to find them? I lost my eyeglasses for 7 days. I just found them yesterday. 7 days, I couldn't see. And what do? You retrace your steps. You think about, okay, you see yourself, right? Your images. You see yourself walking in the house, and where you went next, and what you did next. So what is this? You're envisioning in your mind, and this is what we're talking about. So these are psychic, clairvoyance. When you have a hunch. Hunches are your inner guidance. That's auditory. That's clair audience. When you Well, and when you have feelings in your body that are that are packed with a lot of information, we pass someone on the street and you get a vibe, you pick up their energy.
Yeah.
What is picking that up? It's so natural,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's clairsentience. And then
Mhm.
we have claircognizance. When you just know something deep, and you don't even question it, you just know. So these are the things that we're talking about when we use the word psychic. It's not, we all have the ability.
Yeah, it's only about remembering, right? Something we actually can do with what we just have inside of us. So this is such a good idea, such good news that everyone can learn it, and it's only about opening up minds and hearts, and not just saying upfront that it's not possible. No, you're just making it up, or I'm making it up, right? Because so many people don't trust don't trust their intuition as well. That's my observation. Many people are disconnected, kind of, or from this inner guidance.
We all are. We have to, I have to work at it. I meditate every day
Mhm.
because when you meditate, you become more aware that, well, of everything, of all the sensations in your body and the images in your mind, and you become more aware of your thoughts, because we don't even know we're thinking. We just think we are our thoughts. And if you become aware that you're thinking, then you realize that you've become, like if you're trying to focus on your breath, then all of a sudden you realize, all of a sudden you realize that you've been thrown off of that, and you're in the grocery store, or you're somewhere else, you're having a dialogue in your mind, you realize that you're not present. And so you come back to your breath. So the whole point is that your mind is always taking you away from that present moment.
Mhm.
It's always pulling us off. And that's just the way thought is. And that's the way we live our lives. We live our lives in a tunnel vision
Yeah.
because we're so engaged in thinking. Animals, on the contrary, are so alert and aware. They have to be, otherwise they'd get eaten by a predator, right?
Yeah.
They have all their senses operating at once. One time I was working. I used to volunteer at the Wildlife Way Station, which was a rescue for wild animals, and not elephants, but we don't have elephants here. But lions and tigers and chimps and wild animals. And one day this man was walking one of the lions, and I thought, and we're supposed to get out of the way, and I didn't want to. I was down below, and I wanted to get a good look. So I thought, I'll just hide here in the bushes. I'm not going to move. So I was, looking up at the lion, and he was passing by, and this lion was about maybe 10 or 15 feet past me, and he stopped in his tracks, and he turned right around and looked at me. And I
Mhm.
thought, how did he know I was there? I mean, he was like 20 feet past me. But this is what we're talking about, this awareness. And if we practice to develop our awareness,
Mhm.
we become more sensitive
Yeah.
to everything around us.
That's true. Yeah. And if you were to give like an advice to someone who would really like to start communicating with animals, what would you say? Like where to start, what to practice, what to focus on, or what kind of meditation do you recommend? Is there anything you could just just
Yes, I would say, and this is fun to do.
uh-huh.
So animals think in pictures. So what you can try to do when your animal he could be in the same room, sleeping or something, doesn't matter. It's better if they're awake when you're first starting. But even if he's in another room, it doesn't matter because thoughts travel. There's no boundary here. So wherever your animal is, get quiet. And let's say you want him to sit on your lap.
Mm-hmm.
So you can say in your mind, you can say, "Oh, Henry, come and sit on my lap. And then in your mind, you visualize that, you see him. So what you're doing is you're sending the picture to him. You see him in your mind, and you've already, spoken to him. So you're connected. And so you see him walking to you and coming on your lap. And then you can put a feeling tone with that. So you see yourself petting him, and you just give him that, feeling tone of love and feeling good.
Oh,
And then
nice.
see if he comes. And if he doesn't come, don't give up.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started practicing this, I practiced with my own animals.
Mm-hmm.
And one day I was in the kitchen and I was making tea, and my cat Yudi was sitting on the counter. So I did this with him. I in my mind, I said, come and join me outside on the hammock. And I showed him coming to me in the hammock and jumping on me, and we're going to lay there together. Well, about a few minutes passed, and he jumped off the counter and ran off. And I thought, that didn't work. So I finished, took me about 10 minutes. I made my tea, I grabbed my book, I went outside, and there was Yudi waiting for me by the hammock. So not only had he heard me, but he didn't forget.
Yeah.
He was waiting for me for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So they, know that your animal is hearing you.
Yeah.
And know that all you need to do is give it a try.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
They love it. They love it when you can hear them.
Yeah.
They are so delighted.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm sure. They're trying so hard so they can be heard, right?
Yes, that's why we have urination
Yeah.
problems.
Oh, yeah. I will ask you about this as well. Yeah, like what kind of connection can you see? But just getting back to how to start. I would actually like to share my own experience, because I've also also started practicing, and I'm trying to use as many opportunities as possible to do it, also with my own animals. And the challenge which I have is to recognize. Sometimes it's more clear to me, but sometimes it's really difficult to recognize if what I see, very often I see an image, or I kind of know. It's about this subtle knowing that, yeah, this is the message. But sometimes it's not clear to me if it's coming from the mind or from the animal. Do you have any advice?
Yes. That's a great question, because when you hear, for example, an animal's thought, it will sound just like your own, because it's all the expression, it's all one. I mean, it truly is. So there's only one consciousness, right? And it's just manifested in different forms. So the voice sounds like your own. So how do you differentiate between your voice and the animal's voice? Well, it does take practice. However, what I have found, and I'll give you an example, I have found, this isn't, a blanket, it doesn't always happen this way, but I have found that usually an animal's voice will be very direct, very simple, and it will sometimes be something that you wouldn't have thought yourself.
Wow.
I mean, for example, I'll just give you one example. There was a cat that was urinating in the house, and I asked him why. And the first thing I heard was, there's no smoking in the house, and we can't jump on the counters anymore. Now, there's no smoking in the house? That was like bizarre. What does an animal care? And so I knew that was not my thought. And yet it sounded so ridiculous. I thought, well, what if I'm making it up? So to answer your question again, the only way to, sometimes when you're starting to really know, and I always tell people to trust yourselves, and this is why, I'll tell you how this ended. I forgot my chain of, I ran out of, I forgot what I was talking about. To trust yourself, because when you go back to the person and you tell them what you heard, you'll get that validation. So that's one way that you know that you've heard the animal. And another way is if you're working, let's say, with a behavior problem, if that animal's behavior changes, then you know you've heard the person. So sometimes, you know, in the beginning, we need that validation. So we need to just keep practicing and don't be afraid. So I went back, you know, and I am afraid sometimes. I think, my God, this client's going to think I'm just wacky. But I went back and I says, well, this is what I heard. You know, your cat is saying that there's no smoking in the house. What does that mean? And she said, and I had no idea. She says, well, you know, my boyfriend just moved in with me and he's a smoker and I don't want him smoking in the house. Oh. And also the boyfriend wasn't so as open as she was, as lenient as she was. And he didn't like the cats on the counter anymore. And he was like coming down with rules. Cats were confused. And this one cat who I was communicating with, you know, it wasn't that the smoking was a problem. It was the tension in the house. Exactly. And obviously the woman and the guy were arguing about it. Yeah. So animals don't like when we fight. And they will, you know, I always tell everyone that urination is communication. They're trying to get through to you. And it's very sad when at that point we don't take the time to find out what they're trying to tell us and we give them away. We give our animals away. We isolate them into another room. We put them outside. You know, we really need, they're trying to tell us something and we have to try and listen and find out, look inward, because 75% of the time, the animal's behavior problem is a mirror of something you're doing, and they're just mirroring it back to you.
Yeah, this is the most fascinating thing, I think, if it's coming to relationship between us people and the animals, like this close connection and this mirroring fact. I just love it. So could you share some of the stories, Diana, of examples, like how your clients' animals mirrored themselves? I'm really curious about it.
Well, you know, there's in the book that you had read, I break it down into different categories, how they react under certain situations. So one of them that comes to mind is this person, and she's a friend of mine. She wouldn't mind if I mentioned her name. I had to change all the names in the book.
I can imagine.
And it was hard because now when I look at the book, I don't remember the cases because the names are changed. But then, you know, it's hard to recall without the real names of the animal. But anyway, Anisha had these two cats that were tearing each other apart, fighting. So they had some issues between each other. And so, you know, we worked it out. But they were still fighting. The fighting continued. And I thought something else was going on here. So I looked at Nisha, and what we realized was, and Nisha realized this on her own, she noticed that when she was not in the room with them, they didn't fight. So if she wasn't home, there was no problem. So she realized that and this is hard because once they fight, it's in your mind, right? So every time they're together, you have this anticipation, even though it already worked with them and we resolved the problem, she was still afraid that they might fight. She was anticipating it. And so animals can see your thoughts. So they were picking up on fighting. And so they did it. So it wasn't until she totally was relaxed and just forgot about them and did something else and, you know, completely forgot about them. And then they stopped fighting. It was completely her thinking.
Yeah.
But there's other examples. And I know I have notes here because I don't remember my cases, but there are some very good. Bernie the Beagle. This is a really good one. I have two really good ones.
Great.
And this example shows you how when you receive an image from an animal, it comes in some, you know, like when you hear a thought, it will be accompanied with a picture and feelings. They come in as a ball. You know, there's an American saying. I don't know if you know the sayings or not, but there's a saying that a picture tells the whole story. You know, a picture tells the entire. I forgot the saying myself. A picture tells a story, and it's true. The thought comes with a ball of feelings and emotions and everything else. So here I'm communicating with this dog Bernie. He was urinating in the house. The person had put pee pads out. He was deliberately not using the pee pads. You know, animals know exactly what they're doing. So when I asked Bernie why he was peeing in the house, I heard, "I don't want to go back." And I got an image of a white dog and a feeling of extreme sadness and also a lot of anxiety. So I didn't know what this meant. The dog, Bernie didn't know who the white dog was because I asked him. He had no clue. So I went back to the person and I said, "Who's the white dog? And what does this mean?" And the person started crying. He had just lost his white dog. And he got Bernie right afterwards to make him feel good. He was still thinking, he was grieving very, 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 very much over the white dog. So he was thinking about the white dog all the time. Bernie was picking up the image of the white dog, feeling the sadness of his person grieving, didn't know why, thought it was him. What am I doing wrong? Why aren't I pleasing my person? And then the person admitted that he became so frustrated with Bernie for peeing, he would often threaten him and say, "I'm taking you back." It turned out that Bernie was a rescue dog, and he had been placed in 4 or 5 different homes, and nobody wanted him, and they kept returning him to the rescue. And he was so afraid of being returned for the 6th time that he was urinating in the home.
Yeah. Wow. This is so, yeah.
It's fascinating. And this is one more example. It's so, it's kind of funny, but it's not. A foster dog. This is an aggression issue. There's a ton of pee issues. You know, I work with that a lot because it's so common. But this was an aggression issue, and sometimes they get very complicated, and you have to peel the layers before you can get to the root cause. But this one was pretty simple. So here we have a little Chihuahua. He was a foster dog, and if he would stop this behavior, the person was going to keep him. Otherwise, she's going to bring him back to the rescue. The Chihuahua was biting the woman's brother, attacking him. So when I asked Bernie, not Bernie, I'm sorry. When I asked this Chihuahua why he was biting the brother, I heard, and this is kind of funny, he's a pain in the ass. He doesn't do any work in the house. Just like that. Now, animals don't swear, but when you receive a thought, this is the thing. We are receiving, as I explained, the images, the thoughts, and the words, the thoughts, and the feelings, and we're interpreting them in our own words. So the feeling, this is the way the feeling tone came across, just as the way I expressed it. But obviously, those are my words. And I went back to the woman and said, "What's going on with that?" And she was so embarrassed. She said, "My brother doesn't do anything in the house. He doesn't contribute. He just sits on the couch he doesn't work, and he helps me with nothing." Well, the problem here was she was repressing her thought, her feelings. She never confronted the brother. She didn't tell him how she was feeling. She was holding it in. So the dog was speaking out for the person. He was doing her job.
Yeah.
But here is a classic example of how an animal is going to be given away for trying to help you.
Yeah,
And that's why it's so sad.
this is sad. Yeah, that's so true. They're not like, it's not appreciated, you know. It's just many people just want to change the behavior. And it's all about the judging the animal, that it's all its fault. And yeah, like not everyone wants to look inside of themselves to look for the answers, or, you know.
And that's such a good point,
Yeah.
Susanna, because if the person doesn't change, then the animal's behavior won't change. And I had one woman who she just wouldn't change. And she kept calling me and saying, well, he's still peeing in the house. And I'd say, well, have you made your decision yet? And her problem was, and the animal told me this, the animals tell us a lot. I mean, if you have secrets, don't hire an animal communicator, because they tell you things. But this animal told me that she wasn't taking responsibility, that I forgot exactly how he worded it. I don't remember, but something about the woman not taking responsibility and not just being not making a commitment, something along those lines. I don't quite remember the whole thing, but it turns out that the woman was not sure of where she wanted to be. She was spending 6 months with her boyfriend up north and 6 months in San Diego, and she didn't have her foot in either place. She was just hovering between the two. And when she was gone, her roommates were shutting the cat out of the rooms. They didn't want the cat around. So the cat was not happy. And so the woman needed to really make a commitment, either, one way or the other. And she wasn't making, her life was just in flux. Animals don't like that. Animals want us to be happy. They want us to be stable, and they will mirror so much of our behavior.
Amazing.
Even sometimes our diseases, sometimes.
Exactly. Do you see it a lot, or it's only sometimes about mirroring our disease, like our diseases?
Oh, diseases. Well, I would say it's maybe 50-50. Many times it's the animal's own karma, and their own stress, their own issue. But sometimes it's interesting, because I knew there was a dog who had hip dysplasia, and his person had arthritis. And I saw, as the person's arthritis got better, the dog's hip dysplasia got worse. And finally one day, the man said to me, I can't believe this, but I don't have any more pain in my body. My arthritis is gone. It's like miraculous. And his dog, like a week later, couldn't walk at all.
Wow.
And I guess they put him down. But this was clearly, I mean, the dog would have had hip dysplasia anyway. He was a German Shepherd. But I think that there was a relationship between, it wasn't coincidental that he got worse as the person got better. I mean, that was very bizarre. And so this happens. I'll see people. There's a woman who had a lot of urinary tract infections, and so did the cat. One cat had a lot of urinary blockages, and the woman her energy was very tense and condensed, just like those struvite crystals that are forming in the bladder that create the blockage in the cat. And she had a lot of had a lot of past hurts that she wasn't letting go. They were just becoming concrete in her body, and she was, she had a lot of letting go to do, and she did a lot of work on herself. Many times I end up doing a lot more work with the person than I do with the animal. And she did a lot of work on herself, and her cat, the blockages eventually stopped. So
Amazing.
stress really can bring that on. And the cat was really picking up a lot from the person. And of course, diet too. I'm sure she probably changed his diet because the dry food can really create those blockages. They're really bad for animals.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh my goodness, it's all so interesting, like, and especially these connections. Like, oh, I just could hear, like, I could just listen and listen to you, to hear more and more. Maybe one day I can come over and and take part in your like live workshop.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be wonderful. It's on my list. I believe that, it will. I will make it happen one day.
Yeah,
But
if we ever get back to that normal way of living, who knows? But I,
let's hope for that. Let's hope for that.
I
But
miss the live workshops because Zoom is wonderful, but you can't go for walks on my trail back here, and there's a lot
mm,
of things we can't do. So
that's true. But at least we have the online course which you created for Human Animal Project, which I'm the author of. So could you, Diana, say a little bit more about the course, about what can people learn from it, what kind of modules it includes?
okay, I want to thank you too, Susanna, because if it wasn't for you, I would never have created an online course. This is my very first one, and now I want to do a lot more, but it's
You
all
did it
because of
very well.
you.
You did very well.
Thank
So
you. It's all because of you, and I have so much gratitude, and I've told you that before, but I really am very appreciative for everything. You've helped me so tremendously. Thank you.
you're welcome. You're welcome.
I have this resistance to online. A lot of us have, and now we're all doing it. So, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
It
But yeah,
is.
my course is Introduction to Animal Communication, and I feel it's pretty thorough because and it comes with my ebook,
Mhm.
Psychic Communication with Animals, and um, I'm basically breaking it down step by step. So the first module, I don't remember off the top of my head. I should have had notes here, but the first module, is just learning what animal communication is. And I talk a little bit about quantum physics because they're proving now how this is possible. So,
Mhm.
once we learn how it's possible and why it's possible and why we have the ability, then maybe we'll stop doubting it. A lot of people out there, they want science. Well, we have it now.
Yeah.
So I kind of go over all of that. And then we talk about how we send and receive thoughts. And
Mhm.
I break that down. And it's just an introduction. Of course, we need a lot more practice, but we learn how to send and receive. And we learn how to listen to animals. We learn how to, I forgot what I'm teaching here. Well, it's really it's just an introduction to the how the whole thing operates and
Mhm.
how you can begin practicing, and then of course we can always follow up with practice on Zoom because that's what is really good to have the practice with one another because when you see how this is done, how you can receive and send thoughts with another human, when you see that, you see it and you do it. And then it makes it a lot easier to do it with animals. So we have the practice with one another, and then we have the practice with the animal too.
Yeah.
So the
That's
intro is going to give you it's going to give you the groundwork
mhm.
of the whole process, so that you can really start to practice on your own.
That's wonderful. I've also gone through the course because of course I wanted
Oh,
to
good.
see all the videos and the exercises, and I must say that yeah, I got answers and new perspectives to animal communication. To be honest, because I also learned from other people, and your course also gave me like extra puzzles to truly understand the aspects of it. So I really like the course, to be honest, and
Oh,
exercises
thank you.
really interesting to me, and
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna practice them, and just keep up with learning how to be better at it, and how to trust my how to trust my abilities, because as you said, everyone has them. So I can really recommend you the course, and in the description actually of this video, underneath this video, you can find the link to the page where you can find the whole description of the course, with more information about Diana as well. So it's also nice to have everything in writing. So just go to the link below, and you can find out much more about the course. Wonderful, Diana. I'm
Thank
looking
you.
forward to the next courses you're preparing. So we can we can share this knowledge, this amazing knowledge together, because I'm here to support you. As you can see, I'm kind of coming up with new ideas and suggestions, and I'm just so passionate about this kind of approach to animals. I just feel that this is our future. It's of course happening already now, but this is the future for humanity.
It certainly is, and it's becoming more and more widely accepted.
Yeah,
and it's so important.
it is.
It's so important because all animals, every species wants to be heard.
Yeah,
every species has something to share, something to contribute.
exactly.
And beyond the animal kingdom, everything has consciousness. So
that's true. Wow, thank you so much again.
Thank you, Susanna. Thank you.
It was, as I said, very nice to see you. Not only via emails, but now, just to have this very nice and cozy talk with you. So, of course, the recording will be available. So, if somebody joined along the way, don't worry, you can get back to the beginning. So it will be saved, and it will just stay here.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being with us. And if you have any questions, you can find all the information down below if you want to ask about something. Have a lovely day, or have a lovely night, because actually it's 7 p.m. here where I live, and I know that you've just begun your day, so it's very different, very different time zone. So take care, and talk to you next time.
Okay, bye, Susanna.
Bye.